Hello, everyone. Welcome to the newly revised Teachable Moments Podcast. First ever Teachable Moments Podcast episode done on Zoom. And I think we got it all done. I would like to welcome my guest, Maddy Anderson. Why don't you say hello to the people and tell them about a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. Excited to be on the newly done show on Zoom. My name is Maddy Anderson. Some people know me as Top Rope Squishy. I have a live wrestling podcast that I do on Thursdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. And I'm into a whole bunch of different things. I love astronomy. I love the universe. I love all kinds of stuff. So thank you for having me on.
You also love what we're on here talking about today too, which is wrestling. We are talking about wrestling today, all sorts of stuff about wrestling.
Yes.
But yeah, last time we tried this, we recorded the whole thing on Anchor for about an hour or something, and then it decided, you know what? We're just not going to let you. We're not going to let you upload this thing. So nope, sorry, not going to happen.
Yeah, it's okay.
The ironic part. Also, I had set up a farewell episode to Anchor and all because I figured, well, if I'm going to do one more episode on Anchor, I might as well make it a farewell episode. Got there, got about 40 some minutes of it recorded, and then it's like wiped it completely. And I'm like, oh, come on, are you kidding me? Really?
Didn't know it was glitchy like that.
Oh yeah. So I decided, you know what? Because you weren't the first guest I had on that I couldn't upload the stuff to Anchor. You were the second guest I had on that I can upload the stuff to Anchor. And I'm like, you know what? First time, okay, I completely understand. Second time, I'm like, no, thank you. There's not going to be a third.
Yeah, I can see how that can get annoying.
And before we go any further, I would like to take a moment to send my condolences to the Poffo family since Lanny Poffo died. God, that was horrible. Macho Man Randy Savage's brother died. I think it was either this morning or I don't know what day, but I know Hacksaw Jim Duggan posted it, and then I found out about it via a friend of mine messaged me on Facebook Messenger and told me that Lanny Poffo died, and I'm like, so my condolences and thoughts go out to his family. So, oh, anyways, how are you doing today? I heard that I saw on Twitter that you are now officially a notary agent.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I just became a certified notary signing agent and notary public. So yes, that's a new chapter in my life. I want to do that full time. Besides my podcasting, which I absolutely am not giving up. But it doesn't make money, the podcasting, so at least not now. And so I spent most of my career as a legal marketer for, major law firms in New York. And so becoming a notary agent just seemed right. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give any legal advice or anything like that. But, working in the corporate world for 20 plus years, I think prepares you for something like this because you have to be personable and have interpersonal skills and things of that nature. And I'm also bilingual. So, I can touch the English and the Spanish speaking people with this. So I'm pretty excited. So see how long it takes to get off the floor, and just take off.
Definitely notary agent. That is great. I am gonna, no offense. I'm very intelligent in certain things, but I'm gonna go ahead and act like I know what a notary agent is. We're just gonna act like I know what that is. But congratulations.
Thank you. It literally is what it sounds like. It's you just are a notary, like you notarize documents and make them like legally acceptable. Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now I know what an honorary agent is. I had a teachable moment just then.
I mean, there's a lot that goes with it, but that's the basics of it. You are legally allowed to notarize documents for people. So
Okay, see, I'm the host of the Teachable Moments podcast, and I just got a teachable moment. That's fantastic. I learned a very valuable teachable moment there. So if I ever need any help with anything notarized, I'll just come to you. Oh, like
that's
you're
right.
that's only in New Jersey, right?
No, I can legally notarize any documents for anyone in the United States online. But as long as I'm located in the state that I'm commissioned in, which is New Jersey, the other person can be anywhere. And I
Oh,
only do mobile notarizations in New Jersey. So to actually physically go to someone, I will only, because I'm not, driving across states. But,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
yes, online notarizations for anyone in the US.
There's few people that you want to go drive. There's few jobs you want to go that you want to do that allows you to drive across states. One being is wrestling, the
Right.
other being actors. Okay, anything else, I'm gonna be located where I'm at. Okay, that's just how I look at it on that. But no, let's talk about how you got into wrestling. How did you first when did you first fall in love with wrestling?
I was a kid. I was brought up on wrestling. I'm one of, four siblings, and in my household, wrestling used to come on Saturdays, I believe, when I was a kid. And it was a stop everything. It's wrestling time, and everybody would sit and watch. And I grew up on, WWE, WCW, and well into my early 20s. And then at some point, I wasn't like into it as much anymore. It changed, the Attitude Era, all this stuff ended. And I don't know, the people that I grew up with weren't wrestling as much, and I kind of lost interest. And so for about 10 years, I didn't watch anything. And then I got into AEW in 2019, and also some indies. And so, yeah, I'm in love with it again. I actually watched a little bit of NXT show the other day. I just happened to, I have USA now. I switched to Hulu. So now I have USA Live, and I actually caught some NXT, and I mean, it's good. Like, I just love wrestling. I think people really just need to watch what they love and let people love watching what they love, doesn't have to be critical.
And yes, I'm gonna go ahead and point this out because I just know somebody's gonna comment about it. Yes, this is a photo of a unicorn that is right here on the wall behind me.
That's awesome.
Totally a unicorn. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say the house I live in right now, my wife, this used to be her sister's room that I sat in right now. I'm not showing everything else because if I was to show other stuff, it'd be like it would really take into question my masculinity. Okay, but yes, this is totally a picture of the unicorn right here.
Unicorns are cool.
Unicorns are like the most lethal animal on the planet. Fiction or nonfiction, they're the most dangerous creature on the planet. I mean, I don't think I'd want to be impaled by the horn of a unicorn. I'm just saying.
They're so magical.
Right. So here, this is where the picture's at. But yes, I noticed that. I also want to talk about something else because I do know from our last conversation you don't watch a lot of WWE.
I don't.
I'm not gonna, and we're not gonna rehash the part of the conversation where we talk about Vince being back into the WWE. We're not gonna do that again.
Ooh, what a shit show.
Oh no. We'll totally let that one slide too. No, I did watch the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. I did watch the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and I saw where Sami Zayn hit Roman Reigns in the back with a chair. And the first thought that came to my mind was, Jesus, he really doesn't have much luck when it comes to people betraying him with chair shots. I mean,
That's betrayed a lot.
well, last time that happened, he was in the faction called the Shield, and Seth Rollins betrayed the Shield and attacked Roman Reigns with the chair. He struck Roman in the back with the chair, and then he attacked. Then Seth Rollins attacked who we know as John Moxley now. It was Dean Ambrose then.
Right.
So then he does that. So I'm like, man, he must have had some major PTSD from that because I love that.
The chair.
Yeah, I love that meme that was going around. Literally, it couldn't have been 5 minutes after the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. They're like, man, Roman must have had some PTSD from that chair shot. It shows a picture of Sami Zayn hitting him with the chair, and then right beside it's a picture of Seth Rollins hitting him with the chair. I was like, Jesus, he doesn't have any luck.
No.
Great storyline, though. Great storyline. I've actually paid very close attention. If there's anything that I have paid close attention to in WWE since I stopped watching WWE, it's any storyline involving Roman Reigns at the moment. Because I feel Roman Reigns is top notch right now. He's putting out his best content in his career at this moment. Because they don't script, he said in an interview, they don't script anything I do in the WWE. That's why it's believable. So right now he's not being scripted promo wise. He's not being scripted. He has a lot of input into his character. I'm pretty sure he's not like, well, I'm going to win this match tonight. No. They more than likely make that decision. But no, promo wise and stuff, it's all Roman. Roman's the one doing all the promos, and I think it's fascinating.
That's pretty interesting.
And yeah, I gotta say, what did you think? Because I don't want to take too much from your stuff because I know you're going to be doing you got your podcast you're doing right after you get off of here.
Yeah.
And what did you think of Wardlow coming back last night on Dynamite?
First of all, I know this is like totally off of what actually happened, but the first thing I noticed was, where's his hair? I totally forgot that his hair got cut.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought too. I was like, dude got himself a haircut. I was like, when did that happen? Now I remember. Oh yeah, Samoa Joe cut everything off.
Yes, I think it's amazing. I know he was injured. I'm not sure from what, which is why I believe he had to drop the belt so quickly, because I don't know about you, but I was totally shocked when they took the belt from Wardlow. And I just think, when Darby lost, I was certain this was to set up Samoa and Wardlow again. So him coming out was phenomenal. And I my husband and I were talking about this yesterday. We were like, we would hate to be security for Wardlow because you're getting destroyed. Like, don't sign me up for that.
I also have to say, during that match, Samoa Joe just tossing Darby Allin over the top rope and the way he landed, I was like, oh my God, that's insane.
Sleep in peace, Darby.
I was like, he chucked him. I was like, am I watching wrestling or am I watching the Olympics?
That's what you were watching.
I think Samoa Joe just made up a new category for the Olympics, and that's pro wrestler tossing. Let's see how far we can throw this guy.
I mean, imagine, Samoa Joe's so big and Darby's like 175 pounds soaking wet. It's like so easy to toss him. So imagine.
Oh yeah, I know what it's like to be tossed like that. I got suplexed one time in a match and literally almost got suplexed right out of the ring. Literally almost got suplexed out of the ring. The ropes are probably what saved me from. If there weren't ropes up on the ring when I got suplexed, you probably would see me go
right through it.
Through. Okay. Luckily, the ropes are there because literally when I sat back up, I was right at the ropes. It's like, man, if the ropes weren't here, I'd be. Whoop. Bye-bye.
You'd have gone for a trip.
Oh, yeah. Last time we talked, it was right before the benefit show that I was going to do for ACW, that we were going to go to, God, that horrible place, Falston, North Carolina. There we go. That horrible place. Okay. I'm not trying to insult anybody's taste in Falston, North Carolina. Not at all. Not in the least. But I'm just saying the most memorable part of Falston, North Carolina has to be the huge water tower I saw. Okay, it's like, oh look, it's Falston, North Carolina. At least you know you're in Falston when you see that water tower.
Oh
And
man.
I wrestled in a triple threat match, and no one told me there were going to be weapons involved. Yay!
Oh
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Surprise.
I got suplexed onto cooking pans. Yeah,
How did that
that was
feel?
it was fun. If you can tell the air quotes I'm doing right now, it was totally fun. Okay, did not hurt at all, not at
No,
all.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, oh, and then okay. Hey, here's another thing that's gonna make you go like, oh my god. Okay. Do you remember what Edge and Christian's like signature thing was to do to all their opponents?
No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
been that
yeah,
long.
yeah. They so Edge and Christian used to take chairs and they do the concerto to somebody's head. Okay, while they
What?
both swung it. Yeah, that's exactly what they did to me with cooking pans. They swung those things and like my head was like in between it. Don't worry, my head totally softened the blow of the cooking sheets. Okay, so the cooking sheets are perfectly okay.
The cookie sheets made it.
Yeah, my head on the other hand, I could hear. I thought I was hearing church bells. I was about to say, "Oh my God, an angel got his wings." God, horrible. We got ACW has a preview show coming up on in February this month. That's awesome.
Oh,
This
yeah.
month, I think it's the 26th, if I'm right. I've got some choice words for. I've got a bone to pick with ACW management. Don't even tell me that there's going to be weapons involved. Anyhow, yes. So you have a podcast. Actually, you have what is it? Two podcasts?
Yes, two podcasts.
Talk a little bit about, because you told me a story that I think everybody should have to hear about your podcast, your Top Rope Squishy podcast you do. You were talking about how last time we talked, how a certain wrestler gave a shout out to you. I think you should be able to tell that story again, because I was really hoping people would be able to hear that on Anchor. And then when Anchor totally wiped it and didn't let me save it up, I got so upset, because I think that story needs to be told. So go ahead and tell that story about, yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so on my Twitter, you'll see that the pinned tweet that I have is audio from Sammy Guevara. And so what people don't know is that some of these wrestlers, they do promos for people if you request it. And so one of my fans, Mind Runner, heard that I was having issues and I was thinking of quitting my show because, I wasn't getting the views and I'm like, I'm working so hard and nothing's happening. And, he commissioned Sammy to leave me a touching message. And it was very uplifting, very, it made me feel like I shouldn't quit. And he just made me feel like he basically made it positive what was going on. He's like, even if there's 10 people that show up, that's 10 people. Like, can you imagine being in a room with 10, like in a small room with 10 people? Like you have an audience. And so never discredit or discount, the
Right.
journey basically. And the message is almost 4 minutes long, but I can only post but so much. But I keep it pinned because seeing that coming from someone from when he started to where he is now, it's very inspirational. And so that's why if you go on my Twitter, you'll find that Sammy Guevara video pinned. Yeah, it's
Yes, I absolutely love that pinned tweet. And because every time I go up and then literally I go to your profile, because what I do is I don't always get to be on Twitter when somebody posts something, because I'm either working out or I have a wrestling show or I'm at the gym or doing something else with my numerous 4 businesses that I have, which I will not divulge what they are because that's my business.
right.
um,
Exactly.
um, so I'll like hop on Twitter at like 1 o'clock in the morning, because even though I know everybody's like, oh, wrestlers, they must get great sleep, right? They must have time to fit sleep into their schedule. I don't think people realize actually, and I'll get back to what I was saying, but back in the day when wrestlers would have to drive, and they still do from time to time, drive from state to city to city to city, and then they go and they get a workout in. Some of them aren't even getting to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And then they have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go do a radio interview or to go do a photo shoot or whatever. So no, we don't get a lot of sleep. And on top of that, I deal with insomnia from time to time. So it's like there'll be nights when I'm like, I just can't sleep. So I'll go on Twitter and I'll check and I'll go underneath people's profiles that are following me or I'm following to see what they posted. And that's every time I check your profile, I see that pin tweet from Sammy Guevara, and I'm like, that is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, because I know a lot of wrestlers do Cameo,
Yes.
and people will contact them and be like, can you like insult this person on their birthday and do that kind of
Yes.
stuff? And I'm like, wow, people want to be insulted on their birthday. I think I found a way for me to make money.
Exactly. How easy, right?
Oh, but no, I like what you were saying, where you pointed out that Sammy Guevara said, if you got at least 10 people, then you got a crowd. I know that for a fact because we do preview shows. And sometimes we only do preview shows in front of like 5 people. So yes, I know exactly what it's like to wrestle in front of just 5 people. Okay. But the upside is our preview shows get filmed and they get edited and they get put on YouTube. So now you get like 80 some or 100 and some views.
Yeah.
But then you take into account like one of my fellow workers in the company, ACW, he goes, well, take into account that may say 100 views, but how many people are watching on that screen off of that one view? So, like, let's say somebody's watching, let's say you've got 1 view on your podcast. There may be behind that 1 view, you might have 10 people watching it at that one time.
That's true. Yeah.
On the same device. So you start taking into account. That's awesome. I always love that. But
Yeah.
yes, you do Top Rope Squishy where you interview people. I've been on the show myself, which you are easily one of my favorite people to uh interview me, by the way, on the podcast. I'm like, well, she had me on her podcast, I'll have her on my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
Yeah.
might come on my podcast next time and just totally insult them. Just
Yeah.
I'm the bad guy, just in case people don't know. I'm the bad guy. And she, Maddy, is a much better person than I am. We even had a conversation about that, about the guy who's like, nobody watches wrestling nowadays. I'm like,
Oh wow, yeah, I remember that.
uh-huh, totally. Yeah, you blocked him. You were the
Yes, I
much
did.
better person. I just kept arguing with the guy because
It took
I'm like, I don't know when to stop.
it took me a long time to start blocking people. I have to be honest. I didn't realize why people would use the feature so much. And I'm like, I don't feel a need to block people, but the more engagement you have on social media, the more you realize, oh yeah, there are some people that need to be blocked. I am never a fan of someone who just wants to come and ruin your day for no reason. And
Oh,
I hate that. Like, I'm just like, do you not have anything better to do than to come on my post or someone else's post and just say something negative just because your life sucks or you're going through, or you know what I mean? Hurt people. And I don't appreciate it. And so like I always tell people on my show, whenever I'm on someone else's show, just watch what you love. You don't have to make it bad for other people. You know,
right. And, I don't want to. I'm sorry if I interrupted you for
no, it's
something, but
cool.
I don't want to say you're a hypocrite. I don't want to say you're a hypocrite. But you just said that you're not a fan of somebody who just likes to come on somebody's post and just like totally make them miserable. I like to go on people's posts and make them miserable. And you're a fan of mine. I was like, but then
I know
again,
you don't mean it. So
I don't know. I don't know. With some people, I absolutely mean it.
oh no.
um, but see, I don't. A lot of days, I don't have miserable days. I'm having a great day, and I still want to make somebody else miserable. But then again, I'm the bad guy.
That's the
So
healing.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I don't like a lot of people. I'm very social. I can be social with people. I don't have to like the person to be social with them.
That's true.
Right. Like, but no, that guy's like, do your homework. I'm like, bad mistake, man. So I do my homework. And I'm like, this is the most viewed show on TBS on this date. See, people do watch wrestling.
Yes, they do.
See?
People love wrestling, and it's a niche. Clearly, it's a niche. It's a, it's made for specific people. Like there's a group of people. Like we literally have a community that watches wrestling, and but that doesn't mean that people, don't watch it. Just say you don't watch it.
Right, exactly. And the fact that he was totally commenting and could tell us what happened in that match shows that he was totally watching it.
Watching it. And this all started because of a comment that Cornette said about how Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay could never main event a WrestleMania. That's where all of this started from. Like they are not main event material. And I was just flabbergasted by a comment like that. That's literally where all of this got started. So
I just love how it's either the snowball effect or the domino effect. Either way, it works the same. If you were to take a snowball that you packed in your hand and just rolled it down the hill of like filled with snow, eventually it's going to get bigger if it keeps rolling down because it's going to accumulate speed. Okay, it's the same with the domino effect. You push one over, if it's set up in the right place, it's going to knock the rest down. It's the domino effect. And that's what it ultimately was. It's I love how certain people will talk. Now that's no discredit to Jim Cornette because everybody knows Jim Cornette knows about the wrestling business. He's been in it for as long as Jim Cornette's been in wrestling. He,
true.
of course, he picks knowledge up from wrestling and knows what he's talking about. But I think with Jim Cornette, he's more stuck in the past. He thinks wrestling should be how it was in the 70s or the 60s. And like back then, small guys were never, it was never heard of small guys being in wrestling. If they were the hometown guys, local guys who got their 5 minutes of fame and you never saw them again.
Right.
They were just brought on to get beat up. You in the 70s, you would never heard of Rey Mysterio holding a title. You would have never heard of that. Okay, nowadays we have 175-pound people wrestling like Darby Allin or like Rey Mysterio, who's really short.
Yeah.
Back in Cornette's day, if you weren't the Rock and Roll Express or you weren't the Midnight Express or you weren't Ric Flair or Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, you weren't making it in the wrestling business.
Yes.
Just a few names as an example.
Yeah, everything to evolve. So you
Yeah.
can't always stay stuck, and everything will evolve.
Yes.
Anything every sport. If you look back in the days, compare those players to today's players, it's a completely different world. It's
Right.
we evolve with time, and we're evolving quickly, and nothing is going to stay the same.
Oh
So
no.
he needs to take a step into the present.
But no, I mean, I do think that Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega could main event in WrestleMania, because there's going to be people that would pay the money to go see Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega main event at WrestleMania. I mean, there's that.
If they were in WWE.
Yeah, if they were in WWE, right? Exactly.
They could definitely do it, and they're NJPW strong. Like you might watch AW or WWE, but a lot of people watch other promotions and watch NJPW. So
Maxwell Jacob Friedman's totally not one of the people that watches NJPW, supposedly by his recollection. He's like, I don't watch that stuff. I was like, okay, good for you. I do, though. I mean, literally, I had the Fight app on my phone, and I had enough tokens saved up, and I saw that Battle in the Valley is going to be this month, put on by NJPW.
Yeah.
And Jay White's going to be on there. Monet, whatever her whole name is now. I can't remember what her name is. Monet Mercedes?
Mercedes Monet.
Yeah, Mercedes Monet. There we go.
Used to be Sasha Banks, for all those who don't know.
Oh, yeah, totally. But Mercedes Monet is going to be on there. And I'm like, let me see how much this is. And I realized I had enough tokens saved up on my Fight app that I could just get it for free and not have to worry about purchasing it.
Right.
Store. I think it's the 21st is when it comes on. Yes. And I'm going to be like, I'm totally going to be watching it.
I'm watching it. I have NJPW World, so that's another way you can see it. You just subscribe to their I guess their channel, and you get to see all of their shows and all their stuff for free. So
nice.
That's how I caught the last one. So
that's fantastic. As we all know, I think it was at the last Noah had their thing, if I'm right. It was, Japan Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah. And as we know, the Great Muta had a final wrestling match that he had. He teamed with Sting and Darby Allin and all. And I didn't get to see the match. I'm totally going to go back and watch it whenever I can, but I just didn't see it. How was that match? I'm guessing you got to see it.
I didn't get to see that match. That wasn't in the last pay-per-view that I saw.
Darn it, I got the wrong person on to ask you about that.
Yeah, that wasn't the one I saw.
No offense to you.
I still have to, no, it's fine. I still have to see it, but I did hear that was his last match, and Sting supposedly was telling Muta that this might be his last run in NJPW as well. So we might not see Sting in NJPW ever again.
Well, I do know it was revealed that after his deal is up with AEW, comes to an end this year, then that's the end of his wrestling career. So he's going to be retired. He's 60-some years old. So I can't blame him. The guy's given a lot to business. I mean, look at Hulk Hogan, right? It was just revealed that he can't even feel his legs because of the surgery he had. They cut his nerves and he can't feel his legs. So he has to walk around with a cane. And I'm like,
I can't comment on Hulk Hogan. I grew up as he was my favorite wrestler. And then, and I'm talking about in my household, favorite wrestler, Hulk Hogan, ripping shirts and all this stuff. And then he hurt our hearts with his racism, and I just can't get past it ever. So I was done. I buried him right there. I was like, I can't. Don't meet your heroes. That's what they say. Right. Don't meet your heroes. That really hurt. Being a Latina woman, Married
Yeah.
to a Black Man. I definitely was not happy about that. I was just like, wow. You've worked with like really big name Black wrestlers. How can you
Mhm.
say the things you said? But anyway, I'm not gonna rehash the past, but
Oh,
when it comes
oh
to
yeah.
Hulk Hogan, it's like a sore spot in my side.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Didn't mean to
No,
do that. See, you're a
oh,
much better
it's
person
your
than I
show.
am. Yeah, you're a much better person than I am. Me, I would have totally been like, well, that he's a prick.
I just
Uh,
I don't wish him anything bad. I just
uh,
I just, don't deal with him. Don't deal with
I don't blame you. There are some people in the world where you benefit more. Okay, I think it's the best way to look at it. It's like it's not giving up on a person. It's you're just not going to waste any more time and energy on that person because all they're going to cause is more stress, and they're not worth your time. And I completely understand the way you're looking at things. You're like, well, he's totally not worth my time. He's totally not worth my time.
Yeah, he got enough of my time. and then took a ceremonious dump on it.
Uh, I think a lot of people do that. I mean, I'm not saying like every, because we know not every wrestler in the business is racist, but I think we would be surprised. I think there might be a chance we would be surprised to find out exactly how many wrestlers were racist
Yes.
and was only really in the ring with a wrestler of color because they were paid to do so and all.
That would
So,
hurt. I would rather not know.
oh yeah,
Like,
same here.
is
Same
that
here.
wrong to say that? Like, I just would rather be oblivious and ignorant to this because back in the days, like you got all these older wrestlers, I feel like there's a lot of that in there, ingrained somewhere, hidden in
Yeah.
closets, and I would rather they stay in there. I don't ever want to go through that again. That Hulk Hogan thing was rough. I just don't. I had a day of mourning in my house. I can't.
I totally get it. I also have been noticed a lot on Twitter how people AEW seems now. I don't know what it is. Let's say when AEW first started out, people were like, "Yes, it's something different. Okay, it's something new. It's something fresh."
Right.
And now it's like, what is it? 4 years.
4 years.
Fast forward 4 years, and now it just seems to get more heat than, and not all it really good heat, like negative heat. More now, like they're saying, "Oh, this is just sad." I'm like, I know somebody I follow on Twitter, Wrestling Rob, I think is his name, Wrestling Rob.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, he's like, not even worth making fun of anymore. This is just a sad company because somebody posted a picture of the fans and they're like, it's sad when there's more security guards there than there are fans. And I'm like, I don't know who y'all think are security guards because I'm seeing some fans, but they're also showing the picture of like the part of the stadium that's not filled with anybody, that's completely empty. And I'm like, I get why people would say that because I've been to a few AEW events and I have seen the one side of the stadium where there's nobody sitting there.
That's on
But
purpose.
right, but then the other thing I'd like to say is if they think WWE doesn't do the same thing, they mistaken.
Yeah,
Because
they
I've seen
all-
pictures of WWE where like one side of the stadium that they're at has nobody sitting there.
yeah,
So
I know AW has a section where the camera goes
uh-huh.
that there's never anyone sitting in that area. Those seats are
Right.
always empty. And so, it could be they pointed to that area and made a big fuss because you know how it is.
Yeah.
Got to take people down, but what you're taking down is not just the company. What you're trying to take down is these wrestlers' livelihoods and the staff and everybody that's employed by AEW. I think it's beautiful that there's more out there for wrestlers to choose from these days, that you don't have just this one conglomerate company owning everything. And if you can't get signed to WWE, then you're screwed, like I think it's wonderful. I think the competition is great as well. I just, give me more, like, you know what I mean? Like, why wish for one company to go down over another? Have them all be successful.
I'm glad that you actually said that, because now I can touch on this topic. Okay, everybody knows MJF is like, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. He's a douchebag. Okay, MJF is a douchebag. Okay, and he's good at what he does. I know that people was up in arms when he made that comment about Takeshita. Okay, where he did
Speak
wordplay
English?
on his name, right?
Speak
And
American. Yeah.
well, where he did wordplay on his name, right? And they're like, well, that's just racist. I'm like, but he's being the villain. He's doing his job. But then again, if you watch some of his interviews, which I do, I watch his interviews, he's like, why any real fan of wrestling would want one company to fail and the other succeed is beyond me. He's like, because that's our livelihood. Like you were saying, it's our livelihood. He's like, we don't want one company, there to only be one company, because then wrestlers are not going to be able to get what paid for their worth. Okay. If you got another company warring with another company, you don't like it in this company, you can negotiate and go where you think you're going to be valued more.
Exactly.
Right. He's like, if we have one person running the whole, running all the wrestling business, he's like, us as wrestlers are basically, well, we're kind of screwed.
Yes.
Because we have no way to negotiate a better contract.
Exactly. Because where are you going to go? But now there's a choice.
Yes, exactly. So that's why in my past, when I did the podcasts on Anchor, I always made it a point to go, like, I'm not trying to dog WWE. I don't watch WWE because it does not entertain me at that point. I've said, like I said earlier in this interview, in this podcast episode, I said the only thing I've really been paying attention to is the Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn storyline, the bloodline and thing, because I think that's some of the best stuff on WWE today. Maybe possibly some of the best stuff in almost any wrestling today is the bloodline segment. And
I hear that a lot.
because Roman is good at what he does, Sammy is good at what he does. They have all the working pieces that make it work well. Okay. There is a lot that WWE gets wrong, but there are some things they get right. And when they get it right, they hit a home run. I will say that much. So I watched that, like, literally the Royal Rumble was the first time I sat down in full and watched watched any full WWE programming in, like, I'd say in over 2 years.
Wow. That's crazy.
WWE, it's being like, I'm a firm believer of, like, you look at how when WWE was up there, okay, and like really up there in ratings, it's when they were feuding with WCW. Okay, when WCW went out of business and WWE bought it, all we had was WWE
Again.
and then right then TNA came along and they tried, and at that time they failed horribly. Luckily, they didn't go out of business, but they're not really competition to WWE. AEW comes around, gives them a run for their money, and at that time, and it starts going, because at that time, WWE was like dull and like bland, and there was nothing. They'd used all their good storylines and they'd rehashed everything. And you can all, I like to put it best this way. I can only sit down and watch so many episodes of a certain show repeatedly before I go, like, okay, I can't watch this anymore. That's how WWE is. I can go back and watch matches and rewatch matches like 100 times and do that because one, I'm doing my homework. I'm doing my homework. It's my line of business. I got to do my homework, stay up to date. But I can watch matches. But you want me to watch a complete show of, say, Raw
3 hours,
repeatedly?
right? Or is
You
that
need
SmackDown?
SmackDown.
It's 3 hours.
Yeah. If you want me to watch a complete show of WWE, you need me to be interested. And WWE was not doing that. That's no dig on the talent
Right.
that's in WWE. It's bad when you have a storyline writer and you hire them and you tell them, oh, don't worry, you don't need to know anything about the wrestling business. Why? Why would you hire a storyline writer that doesn't even know who your current champion is?
I know where you're going with this. I believe that's the thing that happens with this one woman, right? A while ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when she revealed that, they fired her.
Yeah.
Like
you keep that to yourself. You fake it at that point.
Right, exactly.
Do your research while you're hired. Like, oh, I got in. That's a miracle.
Yeah, I got in. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna totally do my research now. I mean, I can tell you who WWE's current champions are, and I don't even watch the product, and it's not that hard to tell. Roman Reigns. I mean,
Roxanne is the women's champion for NXT. I actually interviewed her when she was Roxy and still working the indies.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, that works out great. How was that, by the way? You're gonna have to tell me about that real quick.
So I'm affiliated with this other podcast called We Love Wrestling, and all they do pretty much is put out wrestling content and wrestler interviews, and it's almost 100% geared towards indie wrestlers. And so I don't choose the people who are coming on the interview, but I do get to join. And so she was one of the people that, the owner of We Love Wrestling was speaking to at the time. And I was able to be part of that interview. And she was Roxy, and she was just working the indie scene. And I knew she was going to be something big because she was getting talked about a lot. But when I found out that she got signed to NXT and then became their champion, I was like, look at that. You just never know where someone is going to go. Just because this is where they're starting, that doesn't mean that's where they're going to end. And, she's super young, like the youngest NXT women's champion ever. She has a feud going on right now. So it's phenomenal. It's great to see it. I love seeing it. Love to see it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I also absolutely love how certain people will do an interview, say they interviewed somebody, and then it turns out they didn't. Like this whole thing with Vicky right now. That's popping up. That's the hottest thing that's happening in wrestling right now is supposedly somebody interviewed Vicky Guerrero and she said it's disrespectful of Dominic being related, being even referenced as like the new Eddie Guerrero, yet she didn't even say that stuff.
It could be BS, but you can find the Roxy interview on YouTube.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We Love Wrestling.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I might even get myself booked onto that podcast.
Yeah, reach out to them. But yeah, it's really nice. We spoke to Willow Nightingale. So there's been quite a few people who we spoke to when they were just running the indie scenes, and they're now showing up at AEW. They're now showing up in WWE. And you're like, you see, you just never know. The Renegade Twins. We Love Wrestling was the first podcast to give them their very, very first interview. And look at them now. So yeah.
My first podcast was with Scott Larson, the hashtag truth. I've been on that thing twice. And he does his podcast on Facebook and YouTube. And he interviews a lot of independent wrestlers. And because, you want seen that. Because I don't think a lot of people realize exactly how much like the current wrestlers, like Triple H, you never know who could be watching Triple H. Tony Khan could be watching said podcast. They see this person, they like how they talk. They might call them up and be like, okay, we want you to come and have a tryout. Okay. So these podcasts, people, independent wrestlers are doing with these independent podcasters, it's just another step in grinding to get to the next level and to get yourself out there. It's like how MJF said another time where he's like, where he was on the Chris Van Vliet show. Okay.
Yes.
And he's like, and he's making fun of Chris's name. He's like, Chris Van Vliet. He's like, how many people actually watch this? Is this a real thing? How many people actually watch
God, is he crazy? Of course.
God. Most popular he's like, it's no problem. It's grassroots promoting to me. And he's right. Right there's the word. It's grassroots promoting, because you get more people to see you. Yes. You get more people to notice. Yes. And we're with that, we're going to segue into what I call the teachable moments portion of the podcast. And that right there, grassroots promoting is very important. And for all the people, peasants, unintelligent people who may be watching this, who are living under a rock at this moment, you have to do the work. You have to put the work in to achieve the dream. You have to put the work in to achieve the goal. Grassroots promoting is very important. That right there, people, is the teachable moment for today. Now, hopefully y'all learned something.
Actually, I
do. See, that's why I don't like calling you a hypocrite. See, you're a fan of me, and I just probably made somebody's life miserable today. So,
I like what I like, and I like who I like.
I love it. We have a wrestler named Cyclone in ACW, and he has what he calls Roadhouse Jiu-Jitsu, I think is what it's called. And I'm like, I definitely don't need your roadside jiu-jitsu. I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna be like, you pronounced that wrong, and I'll be like, I said what I said. Okay,
take it.
But yeah, man. No, I love it. I love wrestling. Now, time to ask you some questions to close this out, because I feel like I've kind of made this more about me than about you, and now I feel horrible about it.
No, not at all.
And now I'm gonna do some rapid fire questions, and don't think, just say the first thing that comes to your mind. It's interesting. It's gonna be great. Okay, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a new segment.
I used to do this in my show. I used to do these in my show a while ago. Yeah, let's go.
Favorite wrestler?
Thunder Rosa.
Oh, cool, awesome. You took a little too long to think, but I'll let that one slide.
Because it's also Chris Statlander. I have two.
Favorite tag team?
Oh my God. Proud and Powerful, and they're not even a tag team anymore, and that's why it was so hard for me to answer that.
That's bad, right? Okay. Yes. Now, this one you can think about on. Okay. If you could book a card in wrestling, if it was up to you, you had a certain amount of money that you could use to book a card. It can be local, in indie wrestlers, pro wrestlers, whatever. Who would you put on the card? You have five matches. You can only book 5 matches. You need the opening, you need the middle. So remember that, and the main event, and then whatever else you do is your choice. So who would you pick? What would the matches be? And 5 matches. Go.
All right. I would probably do a Yuka Sakazaki versus a Thunder Rosa for an opener.
Okay.
I love tag team wrestling. So I would probably like to see the Acclaimed, which they're really, really hot right now, versus Private Party. I guess after the opener. Wow, you put me on the spot. Let's see. The main event, I'll come back to the other two, but the main event to me would be the current TNT championship. I would have Chris Statlander come back and dethrone Jade, which I love Jade. But that to me is like a dream match, that because of Chris Statlander's injury right
I gotta
now.
correct you on something. You said the TNT title. It's actually the TBS title.
I mean, the TBS title. Sorry, the TBS title.
Although that would be interesting. Could you imagine that? Chris Statlander faces Samoa Joe for the TNT title. What's going to happen?
She would do it. She would do it. She's done intergender matches on the indies, and she's even faced Orange Cassidy. So yeah, a dream match. I know that they don't exist anymore, but before the main event, I would definitely have had Proud and Powerful go up against Best Friends again. Their parking lot brawl, to me, to this day, is a top 5 match of all time.
Oh, definitely.
I agree. But yeah, that's what's that, 4?
That's 4. I think that's 4. Yeah.
So
okay.
In the last, I guess a trios.
A
trios, and good Lord, I would have House of Black take on the Elite, which I think we're gonna see.
I love the House of Black. Fantastic what they're doing with the House of Black. It's fantastic. And I think it's stuff Malachi got to do, is now wanted to do in WWE that he didn't get to do, and now is able to do in AEW. And I love that. That's one of the things I love about that. Because, I mean, come on, let's face it. FTR was in WWE and they had them shaving each other's backs on live camera. I was like, I don't want to see that.
I didn't get to see that, thankfully. I wasn't watching.
Yeah, I kind of wish I wasn't watching at that moment too. I'm like, why are you shaving his back on camera? Oh my God, that's horrible. I felt bad for him. I did. I felt bad. I'm like, why would... Because all I thought was, I hope you got paid a lot of money for doing that, because that is just embarrassing.
Probably not.
But yes. Okay, everybody. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today to the first episode of the newly revised Teachable Moments podcast on Zoom. It's still recording, so right now we're good. And we will know what happens when I stop the recording and if I'm just going to throw my phone across this room. I don't know. But before I go ahead and end the recording, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me across the board, which is Twitter, TikTok. I do have an Instagram, but I swear I do not go on it. So if you message me or anything on there and I don't respond, that's why. But I am Top Rope Squishy across the board, and also on YouTube. My second show, Café con Leche, has been on hiatus, but it will return on February 19th with a martial arts movie throwback special. So please make sure to tune in. And thank you so much, Arch, for having me on this show.
Hey. Yeah, now hold on, and I'll debrief you in a bit, but just stay with me in a bit. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I will be back next week with another episode if this totally doesn't bomb and doesn't get recorded. If hopefully it gets recorded and it works out perfectly. But I'll be back next week, hopefully with a new interview. You have just been listening to the Teachable Moments podcast. I'm the Masked Menace, and I am out.